Hi guys, this is a new video. This video is going to be talking about what is known as topographic maps. If you look at the image on the sheet below, you are seeing what is a topographic map. Well, what is it exactly? Well, a topographic map, and we're going to take a which is also known, and you need to know this, as a contour map. It allows you to put a mountain or a hill or a landforms that are 3D in nature on a flat 2D surface. So for example, and we don't here, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of mountains or hills, but if we did, you could represent these mountains and hills on a surface like this, flat, by showing changes in the height or changes in elevation. And if you look closely here, this is Deer Mountain over here, and this right here is referred to as Berry Mountain. So this is exactly that. Mountains that have been represented, excuse me, their heights have been represented on a flat surface, and so that you can actually have an idea of the change in elevation or height as you go up the mountain or come down the mountain. It also gives other clues, but before we talk aloud about it, let's just go ahead and define it. It's a map that shows changes in elevations or height, meaning like how high you get on a flat surface or on a page. So a lot of times if you would go up north and go to like a state park, and you maybe wanted to hike and see what's going on, you would get a contour map or a topographic map of the area, and you could look at the changes in elevation and you could pick your route. We're going to talk a little bit more about this image here in a minute, but the first thing I'd like you to do, and if you can do it with me. If you have any Play-Doh or Play-Doh and some floss, some dental floss, or some fishing line, I'd like you to go get it. And you can pause the video right here and do that. Because we are going to look at what it takes to get from a mountain to get to an actual topographic map or contour map. All right, so if you can look here, I have created my mountain out of Play-Doh, and you note that for educational purposes, I've made a nice and gentle sloping side here and a rather steep side here. Also, what I'm going to put on my map is a stream that's going to run downhill on the side of my mountain here, because this is my mountain. And this is the side view of it, and if you wanted a side view, you could pretty much put it here to the side and trace it, and I guess we can do that. So this is going to be I don't know if that's tracing. Let's get another. So we're going to trace the side view of my mountain, and we could also assign it various heights or whatnot. Well, that's not exact, but that's fine. It's a side view of Play-Doh Mountain. All right. So that's my side view of a mountain to the best of my abilities. But now, how do they go from a side view of a mountain, or actually a top-down view of a mountain, and you're looking at my mountain like this, and how do they come up with this flat surface? Well, they use different ways to measure different points on the mountain, and that way they can establish the height at various areas to make one of these in actuality. We're going to do our best to kind of show how one is created. First, let me go ahead and add that river or that stream flowing from the top down. This could actually just be runoff also. It could just be runoff from the mountaintop when it rains. So some water weathering there going on and erosion, carrying sediments down. So here we go. Here's a top view of my mountain. And the first thing I want to do is, okay, so this is the base of the mountain down here. I'm going to go ahead and trace this. Okay, so this is the base of the mountain. Not always, but and depending on the landscape and where you are, but if there's nothing indicated, this could be at 0 feet in elevation. It just depends. Some maps will tell you what the base is, what elevation, and otherwise you just have to figure it out based on the lines to come, and we'll explain more as we go. So that's the base of my mountain. Now I'm going to take my mountain and I am going to, and if you see right here, this little thing indicates that that's where actually where my my stream was flowing down the mountain, or my runoff, and I can see that that's where the stream terminates at the base of the mountain, or not where it terminates, but that's where it comes off the base. So now I'm going to take my dental floss, and I'm actually going to go up about a centimeter, and I'm going to cut into my mountain like this. And now I'm going to take, I've already traced this layer because I traced the base. Now I'm going to set this up and trace this layer, knowing that here is my river. I'm going to use, or excuse me, my stream, runoff. I'm going to use this as my reference point to see where I am. And I'm going to trace this next layer best I can. And there you go. That's the first layer of my mountain that I've got a measurement on. Remember, actually, measurements would have been taken, and this is assembled like this. You can't cut through mountains, but this is just giving an idea of what it is and how it works. So we're going to use our dental floss to do this another layer here. And I'm going to set this layer aside since that was already done. I'm going to use my stream here once again as a how to set it up on my page, because that's giving me a good point of reference to where I can continue to mark where I am. And then I'm going to just continue this as much as I can to get as many layers of my mountain as possible to create this topographic map. There you go, another one. These aren't perfect, but they're a good idea of what it would look like, and kind of give you an idea of how it progresses as we go. Get another one if I can. Might not be able to. Let's see. All right, and there's my tip, or my mountain peak. This one looks more flattened, so it's not as much as a peak. It's been weathered into kind of like a flatter plateau. But That's good enough. All right. So here is my topographic map of the mountain that I had created before we got started. Here's what it looks like. Remember, that was its side view. This is now its top-down view. This was the base of the mountain, the first layer I traced. Here you can see these grooves, and we had put in a stream. So this indicates these, if you see arrows like this on a map in one of these lines, looking like they're pointing to the top of the hill, this shows a stream coming downhill. So it's not going uphill, even though the peak, it looks like the lines are pointing to the top, but it's flowing downhill. Okay, downhill. This could be a stream, this could be a spring water, it could be runoff like we said, but these lines, if you see in one of these lines that I had drawn, these lines, any kind of arrowheads that look like they're pointing to the top, this always indicates a stream. Now, I've been saying these lines, each one of these lines, each one of these that we have drawn or to create our topographic map is called a contour line. So each one of these lines is known as a contour line. So it's not just a line, it's a contour line. And it indicates a certain elevation. So it indicates height, elevation of this mountain or hill. When you see a contour map, you will see that some lines are labeled with numbers, other ones not. In general, every fifth line will be labeled. And let's say that this was at sea level, so this was a 0 feet in elevation. And then every fifth line, I don't know if I have that many, 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't. But let's just make one more just so we have another one. We'll just add one on and pretend there was another one. So every fifth line would indicate a change in elevation. And let's say this one says 100 feet. So if I have this one down here as 0 and this contour line up here is 100, then there's a difference here of 20 feet per line on the map. So I would know then, oh, okay, so this must be 20 feet, this must be 40 feet, this must be 60 feet, this must be 80 feet, and then this is 100 feet. So this gives me an idea of if I'm coming up this mountain and all I have is this flat drawing to tell me what's going on, how the change in elevation would go from the base of the mountain to the last contour line. Now, obviously, the topographic map is also called a contour map because of the fact that these lines are known as contour lines. Lines that are labeled, remember we said every 5 lines there should be, or every 5 contour lines, let's be specific, there is a number which is basically the elevation. Sorry, let me move this over. The elevation. These lines that are numbered are called contour index lines. Those are contour index lines. Now, as we can see, some lines are close, like in here, and some lines are spread far apart. So what does that tell us about this mountain or this? I lost the peak. There it is. Oops, now I'm losing more.